Hi, this is Tracy Taylor with the Wasatch Taxpayers Association. We're doing candidate interviews for the Heber City Council primary race in 2019. If you want more information about Wasatch Taxpayers Association, go to wasatchtaxpayersassociation.com. We're here today with Nick Lopez. He has run before, and we're going to talk to Nick about why he's running again, do a little introduction, and tell people where they can learn more about you.
Okay, I'm Nick Lopez. I'm a Heber City resident. I've been a resident for 5 years. You can find me on Facebook. I don't have any other web pages, just a Facebook page. You can find me on the public information. You can call me direct at 801-707-4795 or at the email address that's on my ballot, or my
I think it's Sergeant Lopez.
Sergeant Major
Lopez
Lopez at yahoo.com. No, I think it's at Yahoo.
Yeah.
No, at Gmail.
At Gmail.
Yeah. Okay. It's one of those. All right.
Why are you running again?
No, I was going to say I'm addicted to it. No, I think I can still do it. I've always felt I could do a good job for the people here. I have vested interest. I moved up here 5 years ago. I want to see this valley go in the right direction, and I just feel I'm a leader. I just feel like it's something I've always done, something I'm good at. I think I make sound decisions based on facts and based on input, and I've got a lifetime of service in the Marine Corps and the fire department, and I just want to continue that.
Great. What do you feel the role of the City Council should be? Do you believe that they should be in control of all expenditures and policies and make those decisions, and then the manager and the staff implement those? Or do you feel more that, the staff and manager bringing to the City Council policy and information and expenditures, and the City Council then supports the staff?
I think the elected officials, the City Council, and should manage those items. They should have, if anything, have subcommittees drafted up that have experts in those committees that can give them feedback. But the elected official is voted in by the people to look at those budgets, to spend that money, to get input from the constituents and the general public, business owners, and then take those decisions and decide where the money's going to go, how the city's managed. It should not be dictated to the City Council. The City Council should be making those policies, setting the ordinances, living by those ordinances that are in place, maybe adjusting them to fit time and needs. But to me, it's a City Council government, and they should be, the staff should be supporting the citizens and supporting the decisions made by the City Council.
Okay, great. There's a couple issues that are really important this time in Heber City's growth and all the growth issues we have. One of which is the airport. I think the citizens really want to know a direct answer to the question of whether you would vote for an airport expansion or not. I think this is probably the #1 issue that the citizens in our whole county have, but especially Heber City. And so I know we're doing an airport master plan. Is there anything within that airport master plan that would even bring where you would vote for an expansion, or would you?
I would not vote for an expansion. I've never been for an expansion of the airport. I think it is the size for the needs of the valley. I believe that somehow we've been intimidated, or the government officials have been intimidated by the FAA and shutting it down and threats of this and that. The airport's not going anywhere. Even if the FAA pulled the money, it's not going anywhere. There's enough interest in private aircraft and private pilot associations to keep that airport running. I would say that we should have deep discussions with the FAA and make sure that some money's coming in to maintain it at the level it is. But I think the city has a responsibility to better maintain that airport, to better security for the airport. They've already got a crash rescue truck there. They need to get some type of training program so that the local fire department knows how to use that apparatus. So I think some improvements on the existing properties, even if it means building a small firehouse to house that apparatus and house a couple guys there, update the hangars, make sure that the infrastructure within the airport that we're responsible for as a city is taken care of. But as far as expansion, the boundaries it sits now should be the boundaries it sits.
Great. The bypass. The UDOT just had a meeting where they're talking about they will do the EIS study. They will come up with a few routes with public input. We will be involved. But basically that's their process that they're going to do. My question to you, though, is do you believe we need a bypass? There are some people in our community that really think it'll take business away from Main Street. They don't think we need a bypass. And so I just want to hear, where you fall in that question there.
I've been to several of the UDOT meetings, the public meetings, and I've sat through city council meetings. I've sat through some county council meetings, and everything I've read, everything I've found is, in my opinion, I don't think we need a bypass. There's one clause that I think there's one. They had like 3 different decisions: build the bypass, and one of the last ones says maybe we don't need one, and that will come out in the UDOT studies. Do we really need a bypass, or can we improve the road? And I believe they can improve 40 and keep the traffic on 40. I told the mayor a year ago, or right after she got elected, I says, even if they build the bypass, this road is going to be 6 lanes sooner or later, just to accommodate the growth. There's no way we can keep it a 4-lane road. The road is wide enough to accommodate parallel parking, a center turn lane, and 3 lanes, including the right-hand lane being a straight lane and a right-hand turn lane. I think we can manage 40 and Main Street better. I think that would keep traffic, commercial traffic, recreational traffic flowing through here without affecting the east side or the west side and putting a major road through existing neighborhoods, wiping out somebody's home. Or to me, I think it's been a lot of wasted money. I think the study's going to be wasting. I think the study's in place. I think that to build the road would be a waste of taxpayer money when the road has existed for generations. A good example, and I keep bringing this up, some people say it'll take the business away from Main Street. You can look at what they did when they put in Highway 6. And they skirted, Highway 6 used to go right through down the Main Street of Price, Utah, my mom and dad's hometown. And now, not just because the mine shut down, but the recreational traffic going to and from Moab and through the south end parks and recs, they've lost all that. It's a ghost town. It's hurt the commerce within Price, Utah. That's just one example. I think we could do it, and I think that Main Street should be left alone, and just UDOT needs to improve it with a few extra lights, some pedestrian crossings at those lights, and then just improve the width and the structure of the thing. And they can still make it beautiful. It'll still have business. It'll still have parallel parking. It just will have 1 extra lane that will accommodate the traffic that's going to come from the future. I just don't think it's going to stay a 4-lane road. It just can't.
Okay, good. They're working on a general plan right now, a general plan update. We did the Envision 2050 and got a lot of input from the citizens. So it's going to, be another year before that master plan will be updated. My question for you, though, is once it is updated, once they have decided zoning and densities, are you willing to stick to that master plan? Or are you still open for developers coming to the city council for extra densities? Would you consider honoring extra densities, or are you willing to uphold the general plan, that the master plan that will be updated?
Okay, the master plan is updated periodically, and it's done so for a reason. And I'm kind of a black and white guy, right or wrong, and if a group of elected officials, with the approval and the okay of their constituents of the master plan as is, all the meetings, all the city, everybody putting their input, I'm for sticking to the master plan. I've always campaigned on, I don't want anybody's dollars in my pockets, I don't want anybody's hands in my pockets, I don't want to owe anybody any favors. So I don't have any developers in my pockets, I don't have real estate people in my pockets. This is for the people of the city, not for those people that are going to make millions on something. So I would stick to the master plan as is and not tweak it, and if that's, you know, if they need high density, then they'll have to address that at a later time when the master plan comes up again. But I'm not for changing anything. If it's set in writing and it's as far as the master plan, then let's say leave it.
Okay. I'm asking every candidate this question. Do you have any conflicts of interest? If you were elected city council, are there any conflicts of interest that you might see? I know the mayor at each meeting starts the meeting and asks, you know, to the council people to look at the agenda and see if there's any conflicts for anybody. I just need to ask you that question. Do you foresee any issues?
Well, unless Salt Lake City decides to take over the airport up here, or I work for Salt Lake City Fire Department, so unless that's something that has to do exactly with Salt Lake City government, the city of Salt Lake City or the Salt Lake City Fire Department, I don't see any. I don't see there's no conflict of interest in my part.
Okay. There's two different types of politicians. Some say they're going to try to uphold the citizens' wishes, their constituents' wishes. Others say, look, you elected me, I'm in office now, I have privy to information you might not have, just trust me to represent you as I see fit. Where do you kind of fall if you were a council person?
For the people. I would be elected by the people, and I would be their voice. I would listen to what they had to say. I would have if I disagreed with them or had some other input that they didn't know, some other information that they didn't know about a certain topic, that I would be willing to have a city or a town council, a group meeting, sit down and have coffee with somebody and just sit and discuss it with somebody, explain them, this is what we have, let me listen to what you have to say, this is what we have, this is what I'm leaning towards, you know, making whatever decision I lean to. But it's a people's city, it's not mine. I'm there to represent them, and I'm hoping that I can get their votes and they can trust that I will be a transparent individual. I think there's a lot of stuff that's done behind back doors that I don't care for. There should be very little that needs to be secret from or kept from people. And so if you're transparent and you move that information on to the public, then I think there's no. I just think that being transparent will be the best thing, to be with them and be upfront with them and be honest with them. So.
Great. Are there any issues that you see in Heber City that might be fixed, corrected, or an issue that you'd like to bring to the table if you are elected on the city council?
I see a lot of things. I think infrastructure is really hurting. We had a couple of water main breaks this past year, and I think they were both in the older parts of the city. To me, that's telling that the water mains are aging. You know, they're trying to keep up as best they can with public works. So infrastructure for me would be one of the primary ones. I would like to see more curb and gutter in the older parts of town. That would bring a little more charm to those, you know, antique homes, those historic homes, those neighborhoods. It would bring lighting, street lighting, just like we have in the rest of the newer neighborhoods. We have curb gutter, we have lighting. Those people deserve that same level of infrastructure. I believe a couple years ago in one of my campaigns, somebody had brought up, hey, we don't even have pressurized irrigation in our neighborhoods. And to me, that's concerning. We need to take care of those things first. I've always said it's like buying a house. If you need a new roof for the winter, you don't go and buy yourself a new brand new SUV or a hot tub. You need to take care of the infrastructure first. So streets, sidewalks, curb gutter, lighting, and I think the lighting would be helpful in those areas to prevent crime. Light up the streets. I would improve a little bit on the public safety side. I would look at the I think we need an active 24/7 fire station, so I work very close. I know that Chief Giles wants that, I know he's pushing for that. They got a full-time station over in Midway. To have one in Heber City would be very beneficial for all the public. I would like to see that pushed, even if the city would have to meet with the county somehow and say, how do we build a station that will house your guys and be in our city, and we can have that level of service brought up. The great guys, they're doing a great job with what they have, but I just think that's one of the things. Back on the topic of Main Street, I think as far as the bypass, I still stand firm on Main Street being a 6-lane road and going with what the UDOT said, we may not need to do anything or do nothing clause. I think Southfield Road could be improved. There's no doubt that road is heavily used. It could be used to get to Midway, so why not work with the county or whoever, and get that road widened so they have a center turn lane that will keep people from, get the buffer for head-ons. You have a couple lanes to go north and south. You have a shoulder, and just improvements, safety improvements. Don't infringe on anything that's not our property already, but I think we could improve that road to get people to the fairgrounds, to the rodeo grounds, to the park complex there, and then also connect into Midway Lane and get people to go to Midway. The other direction, I think they could do something similar. They don't need to have a huge bypass road, but I think eventually it would probably be beneficial for them to have the same type of surface road, maybe a bike lane on it, on those roads. To get people that are just going to Midway or coming from Midway from an event over at Midway or Soldier Hollow that don't want to go through the Main Street area, but they can make that left to right turn there and come across. So those kind of things I'd like to see improved. Mm-hmm. I think that it would be my position to go and talk to all the directors and stay in good contact with the directors of the different services, the Parks and Recs, the Public Works, those type of people, and talk to the chief of police and find out what their needs are, and talk to the guys that are on the end of the shovel. Ask them, what do you need? Are you being overworked? Do you need more people? What would you want to improve? Mm-hmm. And make those improvements so that we can deliver a better delivery of service to the public. So.
Okay, we'll take a couple more minutes and tell people why they should vote for you.
Because of Nick Lopez. I just think I'll do an outstanding job. I think I've got a level of professionalism. I'm direct. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't hide nothing. I'm honest. I'm open. And if I feel passionate about something, if I feel that a fight needs to be fought, I'll fight for the public. And like I said, I have no problems meeting with anybody, any citizen, one-on-one, small groups, large groups, to discuss their needs. I think they're not really listened to in depth. I think they see something in the paper that or in the agenda that's coming up, and they're kind of blindsided at times, and they're like, oh, we didn't know, and then they scramble to come up with their thoughts. So I think if you just go to the individual neighborhoods, have a little town meeting, ask them what are your needs for this neighborhood, because each neighborhood is different. Their needs and wants and needs are different, and then explain to them, well, we can't give you this skate park, you can't explain this other thing, we can't do this or that, because we need to direct that money to this neighborhood that really needs the sidewalks. So. Okay.
Thanks so much for listening. I hope these are informative for you, and look for all 8 candidates. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.